Hello love, and welcome to part 3 and the final installment in my video series on how to tie together focal points and backgrounds. In this series I'm taking 3 of my mixed media muses and 3 of my painted backgrounds and finishing them out with lots of examples on how you can make cohesive mixed media artwork. These components are from 2 Skillshare classes that I created recently called Mixed Media Muse and Beautiful Backgrounds, and I'll have more information about those at the end of this video and links to the classes down below. So get comfy and join me for a relaxing art making session. Okay, so I have my next muse, the third one, and I have my stenciled background. And I want you to notice that her head is tilted upwards towards the left, so I need a focal point that she'll be looking at, because the point of this third video is to highlight the concept of direction. And I think of everything in my mixed media pieces and paintings and all of my artwork. All of the components in these pieces have a direction. They're like arrows, and they guide our eye around the piece so that the viewer continues to circulate their vision and remain entertained. And that way they stay with it, they get intrigued, they start to notice the small details, and I take them on a little journey. So she's looking upwards towards the left, and I'm kind of zhuzhing around, arranging my components, and I'm looking for something that she will be gazing at, which can then circulate the viewer's eye down and around the painting. So I found this butterfly, and it was rolled up on a piece of paper, and you can always reverse roll something to get it to relax a little bit. So this butterfly is a direction that I could have her looking. I could put that in the top left, and I was looking for something that also went with the colors and has a nice bold feature in it. So I'm just playing with where it could sit. It's a little bit big. I could scoot her down, but then she's kind of shrunken. And I want you to notice that the bird on her head is facing in the same direction, and that was intentional. So they're both kind of looking in the same direction. And I'm almost at a point where I like what she could be looking at, but I just need to find that nice balance. So I like these flowers a lot. I like the lock, which is really a keychain. I like the corrugated cardboard. And if I trim down that butterfly, it'll fit a little bit better. So it could be on her actually, but I decided instead that I wanted to change that up and maybe have it be part of the element that is with the lock. So eventually I tried enough combinations that I came to this point. And I like that because it's kind of unusual. The butterfly is resting on the corrugated cardboard and relating downwards towards that lock. So she's looking at the butterfly wing. The butterfly wing is faced down towards this cluster of components with the lock. And if you watched part 2 of this series, I used a key in one of those pieces. So not only is the lock interesting on its own, but it also relates to a key that's in another piece in the series. And I'm using some other similar components that I used in other pieces in the series as well. The red floral accents, the corrugated cardboard, the vintage book page. And now I have a composition that I'm really liking. So I'm trimming her down and trimming the tail of the bird down so it meets the edge of the canvas. And now I'm ready for my glue down. So I'm going to start with the book page. It's okay if it overlaps a little bit with her wing. So I'm just going to mark out where the page is going to sit on the canvas. And I'm covering up a lot of the stenciling I did, but it's always nice to have the option for rearranging the composition and have a full background ready to go. Okay, so I'm sealing down that book page, making sure that it's nice and sealed and protected because it is really vintage and brittle. And now I'm going to take some teal and white and tie it into the background a little bit with color soften the edges. And I want some of the warmth of the page, how it's yellowed, to show through. And then I'm going to position this so I can eyeball where it's going to sit. I glue down half at a time, which helps with positioning things perfectly. Now I'm going to put down my other floral elements where it would peek out under that cardboard, and gluing down half at a time really, really helps. Okay, so I just hold it where it needs to be, fasten one end, and then fasten the other. And with the cardboard, I put down a good amount of the gel medium to make sure it sticks really well. And now it's going to overlap those other elements just a bit, and the lock will go on top. Now the corrugated cardboard is not a very flat surface. It has gaps in it, so I want to make sure that I get down enough acrylic gel medium so that it really grabs those raised parts of the corrugated cardboard. And now I'm going to glue down my muse, and I'm going to do, again, half at a time so that I get the positioning right, because she's touching the edge of the canvas not only at the bottom, but the bird tail is touching the edge of the canvas on the side. So I want to make sure it's lined up really well. And then I just lift up, apply the acrylic medium down, flip the canvas over. Sometimes you need a better angle. And then massage the piece into the canvas, into that gel medium, so that it's nice and adhered on all of its sides. And I have to kind of be patient with it because there are so many layers in the muse. And then smooth out the top so that you don't get any rough ridges in that gel medium. So now I have some white on my little tiny round brush, and instead of using pen this time, I'm using my brush, using the white to accent with decorative mark making, as well as some highlights on some of those floral pieces. And here I have gold in my brush, which I can go over any areas that I want to really pick up the light and have reflection. Areas of that butterfly, you don't even see it show up, but when it hits the light, it's going to look beautiful. Just dancing around with that. Some curly cues there. And I don't do as much of my decorative mark making on this one as I did in my other two pieces, because there was plenty going on and I felt like it was just right. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I add some more dots and a little bit of charcoal. And I felt like something was missing on that edge, and I'm just looking for the right thing. I like this flower. And that's another arrow, right? So the flower is going to direct the viewer's eye away from the edge so that it doesn't just, their gaze doesn't continue off of the left side of the canvas. This rose is going to kind of point them back in the right direction so that we look from her to the butterfly to the lock, and then to some of the other elements in the piece, like the writing in her body and the floral elements. Some of the stencils are even facing towards the center as well. All right, so that's the final piece in this mini series. I had so much fun with these. If you missed part 1 and 2, you can find the links down below. I'm going to leave more information about my Skillshare classes in a moment, but before I do, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this inspires you to play with the compositions in your mixed media and helps you create more direction in your pieces. If you enjoyed this, I'd love it if you would help out my channel with a like, comment, and subscribe. I have so many ideas for new videos, and I can't wait to share more with you. I love chatting with you about art, and hopefully this helps out your practice. So thanks again, happy creating, and much love. When learning to make art, most people focus on the subject of their pieces, but one of the most overlooked and most important components of a good work of art is the unsung hero, the background. My name is Jennifer Laurel Keller, and I'm an artist and instructor with over 20 years working in the arts. And one thing that I notice when working with students is that many people either treat backgrounds as an afterthought or they overwork them and they turn out too busy, which distracts the viewer. And I used to be in the same boat. I didn't realize that it was my backgrounds that were falling flat. But eventually, after lots of trial and error, I found that layering and texture are key because an interesting background will support your work, give your focal points a space to live in, and help tie the piece together so that it makes sense. So in this class, Beautiful Backgrounds for Acrylic Painting and Mixed Media, I share lots of techniques which I combine on 3 different canvases to create lush, attractive backgrounds. Each technique is interchangeable and you can layer them in any combination that you choose to fit your personal style. You'll learn about mixing colors on the canvas, contrast, drips, splatter, gradients, stencils, collage, semi-transparent layers, and quick stamping so that you can let go, get in the flow, and make juicy textured backgrounds that will draw in your audience. This class is right for you if you've felt like something has been missing in your art. Maybe you've thought about trying more textured backgrounds, but found it a little scary. Once you see how easy these techniques are, you'll be ready to jump in and have fun. In the end, you'll have several backgrounds ready to go so that when inspiration strikes, you'll be ready. So are you ready to play? I'll see you in class. Every artist and art lover cherishes the excitement of inspiration, and nothing embodies that inspiration quite like the concept of the muse. They symbolize creativity, inventiveness, imagination, vision, and beauty. My name is Jennifer Laurel Keller. I'm an artist and instructor with over 20 years working in the arts, but what I really do is help people gain creative confidence. Sometimes it's hard to tap into our inner muse, so I thought it would be fun to create beautiful muses as symbols of our own guiding lights, which we can have on hand as a stash of focal points for our mixed media works. So in this class, Mixed Media Muse, I create 3 different examples infused with rich textures, beautiful natural elements, and inspirational energy. You'll learn about materials and where to find public domain vintage images that are copyright free for your collage. I'll demonstrate layering and assembling, composition, adding semi-transparent acrylic color, and tips for making your muses lovely and filled with imagination. This class is right for you if you're drawn to beautiful papers and want to create whimsical figures without the need for a lot of drawing or painting skills. With these easy concepts, you can create as many muses as you like so you can have them ready to go for your future mixed media pieces. So are you ready to bring your inner muse to life? I'll see you in class.